I know you're home. Open up now. Sheila woke up to the insistent ringing of the doorbell. Her head was buzzing, her body adamantly refusing to move. The pounding at the door seemed to echo through her feet. Sheila struggled up, clinging to the walls, and staggered to the door. She didn't bother looking through the peephole. She didn't care who was breaking into her sanctuary or why. Kelly stood outside. She was Sheila's best friend, a spectacular blonde who knew her worth. Despite the early hour, Kelly looked pert. Flawless curls, daytime makeup, a casual dress, and high heels. In Kelly's opinion, anything below 7 centimetres wasn't a proper heel, and such shoes never earned her respect. Her definition of low was 7 to 8 centimetres. "I've been calling you since yesterday." Kelly launched into attack as she entered the hallway. "Fine, during the week you're tired from work and want to sleep early, but yesterday was Friday. You could have chatted a bit. Or did that man of yours finally forbid you to talk to me? Hey, Brock, are you playing domestic tyrant now? Afraid that under my guidance Sheila might leave you?" "No, Kelly," Sheila said tiredly, sinking onto a kitchen stool. "He left me." "What?" Kelly couldn't believe her ears. "That nerdy and boring Brock dared to leave my dear Sheila? Just like that?" From their first meeting, Kelly had disliked Brock. Smooth-talking, with his sickeningly sweet smile and ingratiating voice, he never earned her trust. But Sheila had fallen in love. Within weeks of meeting, Brock had moved into Sheila's apartment and started using her car, claiming his was being repaired. His job remained mysterious. By his account, he was a high-level executive struggling to save his company from bankruptcy. However, Sheila never saw much money from him. "What does it matter who provides for the family? The main thing is that we love each other," she would say. Yet Brock, while living in Sheila's apartment, driving her car and enjoying her financial support, showed no hurry to propose. When Kelly directly asked about wedding plans, Brock hugged Sheila and smoothly replied, "A marriage stamp means nothing. Sure, we could sign the papers if it's urgent. Actually, I planned to formalize our relationship somewhere in Bali or the Mediterranean, do it properly. But first, I need to rescue my company from this crisis so it can generate proper income. Of course, Kelly, if you're eager to celebrate my and Sheila's wedding now, we can do whatever to satisfy you. Though I can't promise restaurants and champagne-filled limousines. At most, a festive dinner at home." Sheila, gazing at Brock with puppy-dog devotion throughout his speech, fervently assured him she would wait, agreeing that official marriage meant nothing. Love was everything. Kelly couldn't believe her eyes and ears. How could Sheila, her brilliant university friend, who had graduated with honours and become one of their company's most valuable specialists, fall for this obvious conman? Kelly played her final card. "Sheila's an excellent economist. Perhaps she could help resolve your company's crisis." She noticed Brock's momentary hesitation before he recovered. "Kelly, I try not to burden dear Sheila with my problems. She has enough stress at your workplace. Better she rests after work." And there was that devoted, loving look in Sheila's eyes again. Rest, Kelly thought on her way home. Cleaning, washing, ironing, cooking. Really, what a rest. After that conversation, the friends rarely met outside work. Their cafe visits and shopping trips ceased entirely. Even at work, Sheila avoided Kelly. When asked how she was doing, she'd simply reply, "I'm fine." "I'll make coffee, and you can tell me everything. Take a bath first," Kelly said, taking charge of the situation. Sheila obeyed, returning noticeably refreshed to find coffee waiting. "Tell me everything," Kelly demanded impatiently. The previous Sunday, Brock had been out all day, which had become usual lately, even on weekends. He returned at midnight and immediately began packing his suitcase. Sheila watched, bewildered. After packing, Brock offered his explanation. "Forgive me, our meeting was a mistake. I've met someone else and realised we're not meant to be together." With that, he left Sheila standing there stunned. Surprisingly, Sheila did not leave her sanity, and deciding that she would think about it tomorrow, she went to bed. All week she'd pushed thoughts of Brock away, going straight to bed after work and forbidding herself to think about him during working hours. Yesterday, finally home after the long week, she let her emotions surface. She remembered, cried, questioned what she'd done wrong, cried more, and kept asking, why? Come morning, exhausted from tears and worry, she'd fallen into troubled sleep, only to be awakened by a concerned Kelly. Kelly, tired of trying to restore the old relationship with her friend and realising it wouldn't be possible to resolve things during the workdays, decided to act directly. After spending all night trying to reach Sheila by phone, she rushed to her home and found her friend in a pitiful state. God, who needed that weirdo? What kind of fool would fall for him? Though, considering Sheila did, thought Kelly, then said aloud, "Come on, let's go make you look fabulous." "I don't want to go anywhere," Sheila protested. "I'm not asking if you want or not. Get yourself cleaned up and let's go." "Where?" "Where all sensible girls go to relieve stress. To the salon, shopping and a restaurant. You and your Brock have completely neglected yourself. You look like an exhausted mother of 8. Sheila reluctantly got dressed and followed Kelly. At the shopping centre, Kelly wouldn't rest until she'd led Sheila through every boutique. At first, Sheila was reluctant to try on the clothes chosen for her by Kelly, but gradually she forgot her misfortune and got involved in shopping. Exhausted afterward, the girls went to a restaurant for lunch. "I'm so tired," Sheila complained. "I hope this is the end of your reboot program." Kelly, looking as fresh as if she hadn't spent hours walking the mall in heels, gave her friend a puzzled look. "What do you mean, the end? We haven't even started yet." Seeing Sheila's shudder of protest, she quickly added, "Don't worry, it gets physically easier from here. We're going to the beauty salon." At the salon, Sheila finally relaxed and rested. "Now you look human again," Kelly exclaimed, approvingly examining her friend after the treatments. Sheila liked her reflection too. Instead of a middle-aged woman with undefined hair colour and a shapeless hairstyle, a young woman with luxurious blue-black curls gazed back at her. "Just clothes and makeup left," said Kelly, satisfied with the transformation. The friends arrived at Sheila's house that evening. "We must celebrate." Kelly produced a bottle of champagne. Sheila brought out glasses. They clinked and took a few sips. The bubbles went pleasantly to Sheila's head, dulling her sense of loss and betrayal. She thought that eventually she'd be able to forget Brock. "You don't need any time for this," Kelly said, as if reading her thoughts. Looking straight into Sheila's eyes, she declared, "We're yanking him out of your head and heart right now. Today. Get dressed up." "But where? It's late." Sheila stared at her friend in amazement. "Saturday, 8 p.m. is late. You're not dead yet, dear. Go get dressed." At Kelly's commanding tone, Sheila obediently stood and went to her closet. "The new red dress and those suede shoes you bought today," Kelly directed. She applied Sheila's makeup and turned her toward the mirror approvingly. While Sheila stood speechless before her reflection, Kelly changed clothes and did her own makeup. "Stunning," Kelly said with approval. And the girls went to the city's most fashionable club. "Oh, what a bore. Not a soul worth looking at." Richard yawned dramatically. "Come on, settle down. We're just here for drinks and relaxation. Let's skip the female attention tonight, shall we?" Leo gave his friend a paternal look. "One doesn't prevent the other." Richard suddenly froze, eyes wide, mouth agape. No way! Leo followed his friend's gaze to the club entrance, where two stunning women were speaking with the administrator, who eventually showed them to a free table. Leo, Richard said, eyes still bulging, I hope you realise we can't let them pass us by. Wait, you really think girls like that came alone? Let's find out. Richard rushed to their table, leaving Leo no choice but to follow. Hi, might two humble vagabonds join your company? Richard bowed theatrically. Well, if these vagabonds have honourable intentions, the green-eyed blonde replied in kind. How could you doubt us? We'll do anything to earn the good opinion of such fine ladies. Then be welcome. Throughout this exchange, Leo struggled to maintain his composure. His attention was completely captured by the blonde's companion. The beautiful brunette seemed to have stepped from the pages of an Arabian fairy tale. Long black curls framed her lovely face, bottomless blue eyes sparkled like jewels, and her figure's graceful curves held an irresistible allure. It doesn't work like that. Girls like that are probably from show business and know how to make themselves look stunning. He calmed himself mentally, but couldn't tear his gaze away from his new acquaintance. The young man sat down at the table, and under the blonde's guidance, they placed their order. As they shared drinks, the initial tension melted away. They joked freely, and the girls turned out to be delightfully easy to talk to. Within an hour, it felt as if they'd known each other forever. So, what do you think of our new friends? Kelly couldn't wait to hear Sheila's thoughts about Leo's constant attention. The girls had stepped into the restroom to powder their noses. You know, they're quite nice, Sheila said, feeling like a femme fatale under Leo's gaze. No man had ever looked at her quite like that before, with such a mix of admiration, desire and shyness in his eyes. Do you think if I... Don't even think about it twice. Well, actually, go for it. Kelly read her friend's thoughts again. They're out-of-towners anyway. Who cares what he thinks of you? The important thing is that you'll forget that jerk Brock and think about Leo instead, Sheila interrupted. One night won't give you enough feelings to start pining over a new man. Just relax and enjoy. The wine had gone to Sheila's head as she danced in Leo's arms, yearning for his kiss. They barely left the dance floor, while the DJ seemed to play nothing but slow songs. Leo was losing his mind. Though his embrace remained gentle and tender, inside he was burning with desire to hold her closer, to kiss her until she wanted him as much as he wanted her. When the dance ended, Leo needed some air to cool himself. I want to step outside, it's getting stuffy in here, he said to Sheila. She glanced at the table where Kelly and Richard were completely absorbed in each other, then replied, If you don't mind, I'll join you. Leo agreed with pleasure, and they walked out into the cool night. At the corner of the club, Sheila shivered in the cold. Leo immediately slipped off his jacket and draped it over her shoulders. As he held his hands on her shoulders for a moment, Sheila looked up and met his gaze. Suddenly, everything around them, the club, the occasional passers-by, other club-goers taking air, the entire city vanished. Only they existed. The world had become theirs alone. Sheila's memories grew hazy after that. Leo hailing a cab, their kisses in the back seat on the way to his hotel, their eager rush to his room. But once there, time seemed to slow, each moment etched in exquisite detail. Sheila had returned from Leo's early morning, showered and fallen straight into bed. She slept until evening, when the phone woke her. Sheila, I'm in your driveway. Put the kettle on. I'm coming up, Kelly ordered in her typical persistent way. Tell me everything, Kelly exclaimed, perched on the couch, as Sheila prepared tea, eager to hear about her Saturday adventure. After sharing the details, Sheila concluded, Then I asked him not to bother seeing me home, and I left. I hope you're over Brock now. Maybe something could work out with Leo. I doubt it. They're only here for a week on business. Besides, men don't usually want serious relationships with women who sleep with them on the first date, so I have no regrets. Leo is wonderful and attentive, perhaps in different circumstances, but at least I've finally seen Brock for the jerk he truly is. Her phone suddenly buzzed with a delivered message. If it weren't for your perfume on my pillow, I'd think I'd dreamed you. Can I hope to see you again? How did he get my number? Sheila reread the message in amazement. That was me, Kelly shrugged casually. Well, I gave my number to Richard and he called this afternoon saying Leo wanted yours. Still think this one-night stand has no future? Maybe he just doesn't want to look for someone else during his business trip, Sheila said, stung by Kelly's words about a one-night stand. I'm sorry, I didn't mean that unkindly. Kelly realised she'd hurt her friend. So, what will you tell him? Nothing. I'm ending this before it begins. I don't want to fall for somebody only to get hurt again. Kelly decided not to argue. Better to let her friend think it through. The beginning of the working week passed in an emergency mode. Inspectors had arrived from the capital, and management bombarded Sheila with reports and documentation tasks. By Wednesday, Sheila had to develop a new economic plan for the implementation of new equipment that her company needed. And that was why the audit from head office had arrived, to allocate or deny funds for it. Sheila welcomed the intense workload as it kept her mind off the past weekend. Her evening routine became simple: shower, light dinner, then bed. Since her Saturday shopping trip, she had begun paying more attention to her appearance. No longer resembling the exhausted, worn-down woman of last week, the change didn't go unnoticed. Male colleagues began showing interest, and one even asked her on a date, which she declined with a laugh. Kelly was pleased to see Sheila taking care of herself again. After meeting Brock, makeup and stylish clothes had slowly vanished from her daily routine. Throughout these days, Leo kept texting Sheila, asking to meet and expressing how much he missed her and thought about her. But Sheila ignored his messages and declined his calls. On Wednesday, Sheila awoke feeling excited. She would present her calculations and conclusions to the auditors in a major meeting today. Sheila was confident in the work she had done. She knew she had done it perfectly. She had to work on her appearance. She had to look businesslike, but not like a blue stocking, and at the same time seductive but not vulgar, so that if the auditors had any doubts, her feminine charm would not let them germinate. Let me introduce you to our leading economist, Sheila Olivier. Her chief gestured toward her as she entered the office. Two men were seated before him, and at Sheila's appearance, they rose, turning to face her. I didn't know economists could be so charming. Leo's eyes sparkled with amusement. Beside him, Richard wore a cheerful smile. Let's begin, Sheila said, feigning unfamiliarity with the men. We shouldn't waste time. Leo understood and played along with her pretense. For the next 2 hours, Sheila presented her work, showing documentation and answering questions. During that time, Leo's expression shifted from amused to intrigued, then surprised, and finally admiring. Well, Sheila Olivier, I'm impressed by your work. Your calculations are flawless and raise no concerns. I believe we should approve the funding for the new equipment. Thank you. I'll leave the documents for your final review. Have a good day. With that, Sheila left the director's office. After catching her breath, she headed to her office, planning to call Kelly for an urgent lunch meeting. Got you. Leo appeared in the doorway. Why have you been avoiding me? I don't see any point in continuing such a relationship, Sheila replied bluntly. What relationship? This isn't the place to discuss our acquaintance. Sheila tried to slip past him, but found herself caught in his embrace. If you don't answer me, I'll kiss you right here and now Until— "Fine, you won," Sheila whispered, not wanting to draw attention. "I'm going to lunch. You can join me." "Perfect. So what's this relationship? You've decided not to continue?" Leo gazed at Sheila thoughtfully as they sat in a nearby cafe. The waiter had just taken their order. "First, there isn't one. Second, a proper relationship doesn't begin in bed." "Why does that matter? Why torture ourselves waiting? To avoid judgment? We're adults." Leo's frustration showed. "Ah, I get it. You just don't like me. Is that it?" "No," Sheila answered too quickly. "You're leaving soon anyway. What's the point?" "We can see each other whenever possible." "That's not realistic," Sheila said softly. "Can we try?" "I've barely healed from my last relationship. You're offering something even more uncertain." Their food arrived, giving them both a moment to breathe. "We're scheduled to leave Friday, but I'm staying until Sunday. Let's give it a chance. Everything on your terms. Movies, restaurants, moonlit walks. But without bed?" Sheila fidgeted nervously. "All right, let's try." "Tonight at 8 o'clock then. Where should I pick you up?" Sheila gave him her address. From that day on, they were nearly inseparable. Each evening, Leo would arrive with flowers and they'd go out together. They'd usually enjoy dinner, catch a movie, or take walks in the park. During one of their restaurant outings, Sheila spotted her Brock dining with the daughter of a prominent local businessman. "I see, he found a bigger purse," she thought indifferently, and immediately forgot about him. Brock noticed her too, and began drawing attention to himself, laughing deliberately loudly and obsessively courting his companion. However, Sheila paid no attention to Brock's behaviour. She was completely absorbed by Leo. His gaze, full of admiration, desire, and sadness, drove her crazy. What she had feared most had happened. She was desperately in love again. Leo's attitude suggested he felt the same, but she was convinced he would forget her as soon as he left. Every evening, Leo walked her to her apartment door, kissed her tenderly and left. On their last night, she couldn't take it any more. When he was about to leave, Sheila took his hand and said, "Stay." "Are you sure?" he asked. Sheila found the strength to nod. Once again, the world around them disappeared until it was just the two of them. A week passed. Sheila sat at Kelly's house, where the girlfriends were enjoying cake and berry tea. "Feel like rebooting?" Kelly winked slyly. "No, I'm doing great. At work, at home, and in my heart. We text every day, and his messages are full of love and tenderness." Sheila sighed dreamily. She didn't see him off at the airport. She just walked him to the door, kissed him, and quietly closed it behind him. She had decided to let whatever happens, happen. She wouldn't worry if he forgot her after walking out her door. She had a new life and new concerns now. There was no time to suffer from unhappy love. That evening a message arrived. "I miss you terribly. Don't you?" She thought carefully about what to write. Not wanting to appear love-struck, she replied simply, "Me too." Now, every morning brought, "Good morning, my fairy," and every evening they shared stories about their day. Leo told her how much he missed her, how he thought about their last night and dreamed of meeting again, never to part. Sheila braced herself for when his fervour would fade and he would forget her. That's what she told Kelly. Maybe he really has feelings. What feelings? After 4 dates? He's a serious businessman and he wanted to change, to unwind. And since he's also intelligent and decent, he decided to break up with me gradually, so I wouldn't feel hurt. Oh, Sheila, once burned by coffee, now you're blowing on tap water. Something like that. And that was that. The next day was Sunday, and Sheila decided to sleep in. A phone call from Leo woke her. "Can you imagine? We have decided that purchasing installing new equipment would be under our careful guidance. So, I'm flying out this afternoon. Dinner together? What time should I pick you up?" Sheila hesitated, surprised, then made up her mind. "You can come straight to my place." He understood, but couldn't resist teasing. "Are you that hungry?" Sheila hung up and got dressed. Her fridge was nearly empty, since she hadn't been eating much, but having invited a man over, she needed to prepare food. She headed to the nearest supermarket, taking a shortcut through the small garden behind her house that led to the service entrance where delivery trucks arrived. A grocery truck was parked there, with male voices shouting, likely the movers. As she approached, she confirmed her guess. A man, who appeared to be the manager, stood shouting at two unkempt workers, who ignored him while carrying boxes and arguing lazily among themselves. Sheila paid them no mind until one of the movers turned, and she recognized Brock. She quickly ducked behind the truck. "So, this is Brock's fancy company and boss position. He really was lying, just living off me. I'm such an idiot. But how did that rich girl fall for him? Didn't her daddy find her a good fiancé?" Sheila pondered while shopping. On her return, the truck was gone. Sheila felt relieved, hoping her ex had left. But there he was, sitting on the steps, smoking with his co-worker. He recognized her. "Sheila! Wow, so many groceries. Never noticed before that you eat so much. And you go to restaurants too. They say it's difficult to feed a man, and I see a woman eating for 3. How did I manage to live with him for almost a year?" Sheila thought angrily, then said aloud, "And I see that you raise your business from the bottom, and you have a really big car." While Brock figured out what to reply, Sheila hurried away. She prepared everything for Leo's arrival, set the table, cleaned the house, and warned Kelly not to call. Sheila dressed casually, her favourite everyday dress, light makeup, hair in a loose bun, and comfortable slippers. The doorbell rang. Leo appeared, slightly dishevelled, holding an enormous bouquet of roses. He immediately pulled her close, gave her a long kiss, and said apologetically, "I wasn't sure what you meant by coming straight to your place, but I brought my suitcase." "You understood perfectly. Come on, I'll show you your shelf. You can shower, and we'll have dinner." Leo headed for the shower, while Sheila searched for a vase. When Leo came out of the shower, she said, "Today, on the occasion of your arrival, I've set the table in the living room, but then we'll eat in the kitchen." "Good, my lady, and now I'd like to give you a small gift." Only then did Sheila notice the oblong box in his hands. Inside was a beautiful gold watch with shiny stones instead of numbers. "I hope they're not too expensive?" Sheila asked nervously. "Sheila, who cares? When I saw them I thought of you, right away. Can't I give a beloved woman a gift?" That word, beloved, made Sheila dizzy, her heart pounding as if it might burst. "Come on, I'll feed you," was all she could say. They cuddled on the couch, watching a movie. It felt so natural and peaceful, as if they'd been doing this all their lives. The couch, the TV, the tender embrace. The doorbell rang, and Sheila peered through the peephole. Her heart sank. Brock stood outside the door. She returned to the room. "Is something wrong?" Leo noticed her worried face. "Yeah, but I don't want to get you involved." "Sheila, I'm already in your life, so whether you want me to or not, I'm already involved." He stood and headed to the hallway. Sheila heard the lock click open, then Brock's shouts, followed by silence. She rushed out. Leo was closing the door. "What happened?" She tried to speak calmly, but her voice trembled. Leo wrapped an arm around her and led her back to the room. "Your ex decided to return. I could tell from his suitcase, but I explained that the place was already taken. that's all." The days flew by. They took turns making breakfast before driving to work. At lunch, they visited cafes together, sometimes joined by Kelly. Evenings were spent walking, watching movies, dining out, or relaxing at home. On Saturdays, Leo would visit the market for farm-fresh produce. "Organic," he'd declare confidently. Sundays were for his home-cooked dinners, followed by cosy conversations on the couch. And then there were the nights, memories that made Sheila's head spin and heart race. She had fallen madly in love with this gentle, kind man who had become so dear to her. But this realization brought fear. Their separation approached at lightning speed, and Sheila knew it would be final. He would leave, and they would never see each other again. 3 days before his departure, Leo invited her to a restaurant. Everything seemed normal: the wine, delicious food, unhurried conversation. Yet tension hung in the air. Sheila felt it in every fibre of her being, her strength slowly ebbing away. "Sheila," Leo began, meeting her gaze, and she braced herself for the end. "In a couple of days I have to leave. My business trip is ending. I've been thinking about us for a long time. From the day we met, I knew I was in love. I thought separation, distance, or living together would cool my feelings, but they've only grown stronger. That's why I want you to come with me." He produced a small box and opened it, revealing a beautiful ring. "Sheila, will you marry me?" Sheila couldn't believe her ears, eyes, or her happiness. Only then did she realize how tense she had been all evening. Tears welled up, and words failed her. Leo took her hands in his, slipped on the ring and pressed them to his lips. Finally, she found her composure. "Leo, what about my job, my friends and relatives? How can I leave all that? I don't know anyone there except you. And where will we live?" "Let me start with your last question. We'll live at my place. I have a huge apartment that's too big for just me. I'll introduce you to my friends and family. Trust me, they'll love you. They're good, kind people. You can still see your friends and relatives. We can visit them, or they can come to us. Your job will simply change location, but I hope you won't need to worry about that soon. I want us to be a proper family." Sheila felt tears threatening again. Leo signalled for the bill, and after paying it they stepped outside. The man wrapped an arm around Sheila's waist as they walked home, letting her cry quietly. Finally she stopped, looked up into his eyes, and found his calm, loving gaze. "I agree." Kelly sat on Sheila's couch, sobbing as Sheila packed. "Kelly, please calm down. I'll visit you, or you can visit me. We still have phones. Aren't you happy for me?" "Of course I'm happy, but you're leaving. By the way, what about your apartment and car?" "I'll close up the apartment after disconnecting the utilities. The car will go to my father's garage. Leo's getting me a new one in the capital, so I won't need it there. Will you come to my wedding?" "How can you ask? Who else would be your bridesmaid?" Leo entered the room. "Ladies, care to try my speciality, meat and vegetables?" The friends laughed and headed to the kitchen. The next day, a plane carried Sheila toward her new, happy life.